Thank you for joining me today on Paint a Beautiful Picture. Today is episode number 182, Hugs and Kisses. My name is Violet Newby. If you have been with me for a couple of months or a couple of weeks, I'm really glad to have you with me. If you have not been with me, or it is something that you recently discovered, in our channel we talk about parenting issues and ways to resolve them, as well as things that we should address proactively as parents. And today is definitely one of those proactive subjects. I have talked to a lot of people in recent days. I live in a new town and I have a new job, and there's just been a lot going on. And because of that, I've had the opportunity to have great discussions with quite a number of people. I have to tell you, many people are extremely awkward about hugging and kissing their children. Very. And oftentimes within a family unit, kids are reasonably uncomfortable with hugging and kissing each other. They don't mind punching each other, kind of slapping each other here and there. It isn't that they don't have any physical contact, it's that they don't have appropriate positive physical contact very often. That's a really big deal to me. I'm going to tell you why. Every human being who is alive needs to have human physical contact for emotional health. I addressed this way early in my discussions with you that actually babies who do not receive adequate physical contact die. They die. You can feed them, you can clothe them, keep them warm, you can meet every physical need they have. If you do not meet their emotional and psychological needs by holding them and stroking them and touching them, they will die. Literally, their heart will stop beating. They will die from lack of physical touch. I want you to understand something. Your child hungers for appropriate physical touch. If they do not get it, then they will start to go after inappropriate physical touch. I've definitely seen kids, especially at the preschool age, but I can tell you that I know a 6-year-old that I taught that it was equally true of. And I knew that kid was starving for appropriate physical touch because every time I turned around, that kid was punching someone in the face. That kid was slugging someone in the stomach. I'm not talking using something like some kind of an object. I mean his own physical hands to make physical contact with another human being. That's how desperate he was for physical contact. And so this little boy, I started going up to him and just putting my arm around him. I'd sit down and I'd have him sit beside me. And I mean, I'd scoot his little behind right up against my hip so that his hip and my hip were touching. And then as I would read a book to him or tell him a story or speak to him, I would intentionally touch his arm and sometimes just grab his hand for a second because he wasn't very comfortable holding hands either. But just grab his hand for a second, give him a squeeze. After a while, he stopped being a lot less physically aggressive and abusive to other children because some of his physical need for touch was being met. I will also tell you that children who do not have appropriate physical touch and attention from their parents will at times seek it elsewhere, and it is one of the factors. Certainly, it doesn't give any responsibility to the child nor alleviate any of the responsibility of the inappropriate actions of an adult. Hear me loudly and clearly about this. But what I'm saying to you is it leaves a child more vulnerable to a predator because they're so anxious and so needy that someone would touch them, and they may have a difficult time discerning between appropriate and inappropriate physical touch because they haven't experienced enough appropriate physical touch to know what it is. So what I'm trying to get you to do here is to minister to the needs of your child, have a healthy, positive environment, and your child knows that. Foster emotional and psychological health in your child. Prevent your child from some filthy soul getting their hands on them and doing them damage. And also to create an environment in your home and between you and your child that is wonderful. I want to ask you a question. Even if you're not having a bad day, like you're really actually having a good day, if your very best friend in the world walks up and guys, dads, I'm even talking to you, and just puts their arm around you for a second or, gives you a slap on the back. That's a guy thing, not so much a woman thing, but just hugs you for a second. Doesn't that even help your day be better? And when you're having a terrible, horrible bad day and you do need support and you do need encouragement, and someone puts their arm around you, or someone just touches your arm, or someone puts their arm around you like this, don't you feel better? And the answer would be, yeah, every human being alive does feel better with even physical support as well as emotional support. And what do you know? Those two things, the emotional and physical support, they go together. So the fact that you love your child and care for your child and are interested in your child and concerned for his or her welfare should lead you to the conclusion that on a very consistent basis, you need to be hugging and kissing your child. I say, I didn't grow up like that. Welcome to the crowd. Neither did I. You have no idea how true that is. Okay, but that doesn't mean you can't start a new pattern in your family. In your family unit, you need to demonstrate affection extravagantly, not stingily, and regularly. I do mean every single day, many times a day. So that means when your child gets up out of bed in the morning, you actually hug them, or you lean down when you're first waking them up. And I've told you a lot of times, ideally, when they're younger, you are the person getting them up because you are setting the tone for the day. And you lean down, you kind of ruffle their head, and you say, it's morning and it's time to get up. And you kiss them along the side of their temple. They are starting to understand very appropriate physical touch and the depths of affection. It starts their day off great. When they're getting ready to go to school, whether that's getting them to the bus stop or getting them into the car, whatever that involves, you hug them. You let them know, I hope that you have a really good day. I'm going to be thinking about you today, or even I'll be praying for you today. You demonstrate to them that you love them and you care about them. When you get them after school, I've seen so many parents, they're running like crazy. Get the kids in the car, go here, go to soccer practice, go to dance, go to horseback riding lessons, go to football, just go, 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 go. It only takes about 5 seconds to give someone a meaningful hug. So no joke. I don't care if you get out of the car and stand on the sidewalk and hug them hello. And if you haven't done it all along, don't start this when they're 11 or 12 because they are going to be so weirded out. They are not going to appreciate it. So you don't do this if you haven't been hugging them, kissing them through their lifetime. You wait until you get home. But when you get home and they're running all, you say, just stop for just 1/2 of a minute. I look at you like, what? Just put your arm around them and say, wow, it's really good to see you. I'm glad we all get to be home together. And I know we have a lot to do and a lot to think about, but it's really nice to see you. You know, when a kid gets used to this, they're going to run in the door and run into your arms. I promise you, I know this one. After dinner, you say it's time to go to your room and do your homework, or it's time to do the dishes, it's time to sweep the floor, it's time to take out the trash. And they do what they're supposed to. Don't wait for them to come to you. You go find them. Say, I'm really proud of you. That was great. I appreciate your help. I'm really happy that I get to be your dad. I'm really happy that I'm your mom. And just give them a hug for a second. And so when I say hugs and kisses, oftentimes kids who are very unaccustomed to being kissed, they're going to be freaked out about this. So you kiss them here on the temple, or you kiss them here kind of toward the back of the cheek. The face is very intimate. If your child isn't used to being kissed, they're not going to like it much initially. They're kind of going to pull back. So you don't go to really kiss them. You just kiss them 1/2 second on the side of the face or on their temple. You just let them know that I love you, I care about you, and over time their comfort level will increase. If they're raised with it from the time they're babies, they will hunger for being hugged and kissed. I promise you, I know this one. Elderly people, Oh my gracious. They really do long for it. There's a song called Hello in There by Bette Midler that's about this. And it talks about old rivers get wilder every day, but old people, they just get lonesome, waiting for someone to say, hello in there, hello. And so, all of us as humans, we desire to be noticed and we desire to be loved. It is a simple thing, but is a very vital thing that you are hugging and kissing your children. You need to encourage them as much as possible in an appropriate sense to hug and kiss each other. I would say to you that among stepchildren, I'd perhaps be a little more cautious unless they're maybe 7 or 8 years old and younger. You get 11, 12, 13-year-old stepbrothers and stepsisters. This isn't probably exactly what I would be encouraging, just so you know. But there is something really comforting and very emotionally satisfying and psychologically healthy in sharing physical affection that is appropriate with those whom we love. And that means your children. If you're one of these people who isn't very affectionate to your spouse in a public way, that means even in the kitchen, I want you to know something. I know a couple and they really love each other. Oh my word. But they have not been physically affectionate in front of their kids. I have to tell you, all of their kids are a little standoffish about physical affection. Every single one of them. They're not super comfortable with it. They never saw their mom and dad in any way, shape, or form display affection. You can do something about that. I don't care if it's at the dinner table after dinner, and my grandfather did this every day. We didn't share many meals together, usually only Mother's Day and Father's Day, and at family reunions. However, I'm telling you, my grandfather would get up from the table and kiss my grandmother and say, Fanny, that was a really good dinner. Thank you. Even if she didn't cook it, it didn't matter. He still did that every single meal of his life. And my grandmother looked forward to that. And she told me after he passed how much she missed that. She said, "You know, I every time I eat a meal, I miss Art because he's not here to say thank you and kiss me." Set up something that your kids will consistently see and recognize as shared affection between their mom and their dad that is meaningful, and they will start to develop within themselves an appropriate sense or realization of what affection really looks like. I hope this has been helpful to you today. If you are not a very affectionate person, if you haven't been shown a lot of affection, and you're kind of awkward with physical touch, I just want to encourage you in little tiny bits. Work on showing physical appropriate love to your children by hugging and kissing them. When my grandsons were little boys, and truthfully, even when my own sons were little boys, I used to take them in my arms and squeeze them, not enough to hurt them, but I do mean really squeeze them and kiss them all over their faces like crazy till they were laughing hysterically. And I would say, "What are little boys good for?" And they always would answer me back, "Little boys are good for hugs and kisses." And I was like, "Yes, that's right." Even now, my grandson is 18. He's well over 6 feet tall, huge, very attractive young man. But occasionally, just for fun, I'll sit down next to him and kind of tickle him and hug him and start kissing all over him. Not like I did when he was little, but still really kissing all over the side of his face. And I'll say to him, "What are boys good for?" And he'll go, "I know, Granny. Boys are good for hugs and kisses." And I said, "Yes, and that's going to be true for the rest of your life." I hope that you've enjoyed this episode of Paint a Beautiful Picture. Go hug and kiss your little ones, and I will see you soon. You may find additional information on our paintabeautifulpicture.com website. Additionally, you may watch me on Rumble, and you may also listen to a podcast on Buzzsprout or Spreaker, all under the name Paint a Beautiful Picture. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. You may subscribe, and if you are interested in receiving notifications, please hit the notifications button.